up, y'all? It's your boy D. I'm here with my man T, my big dog Drew, and this is Saturday Morning Traffic, the greatest podcast, not the latest podcast. And today is a very special episode because this is the last game of the NBA season, a compacted season full of injuries, COVID protocols, folks sitting out games, you know what I'm saying, load management, LeBron getting injured, like everything has happened this season. It's been a crazy season. It's damn near like a soap opera. So today we're going to talk about a whole lot of that. What is it? The Hall of Fame introduction thing.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame
situation.
Yep. Next year's Hall of Fame, and who we think is Coach of the Year. So let's get into it. All right, here it is. This is the 2020 Hall of Fame class. Tim Duncan, KG. I know that's your boy D. And obviously the late Kobe Bryant, RIP. I did find this picture, so I wanted to kind of put that on there. Obviously, I believe this is arguably one of the best Hall of Fame classes there has been. I mean, you look right there, just in that picture. That's 11 championships, right? And arguably the second best shooting guard of all time. KG, you can put him in the conversation, potentially a top 5 power forward of all time. Then obviously everybody has their own opinions, but I do think, Tim Duncan is the best power forward of all time. What were your guys' thoughts on the ceremony? These 3 legends and the other candidates that went in, because you had like Tamika Catchings who went in, Rudy Tomjanovich, I think his name was, where he coached the Rockets. Just a lot of people getting inducted. And what did you guys think? Go ahead, Drew.
I think it's definitely a nice, well-deserving class. It's funny. Somebody was just talking trash about KG the other day on my Facebook, and I was like, they were like, "Oh, Blake Griffin is better. Prime Blake is better than Prime KG." I'm like, "Are you smoking rocks? Like what?"
He's smoking peyote. He on that acid.
I'm like, and then I'm like, did old KG even dunk on like Prime Blake at one point?
And top.
I'm talking about Brooklyn Nets KG.
Yeah, you're not talking about the Timberwolves or the Celtics.
Like, man, the disrespect for a Hall of Famer is real sometimes. But yeah, everybody in this class definitely deserves to be in it. I'm really looking forward to next class because one of my favorite players of all time, Ben Wallace.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Cool class.
My question to you, Drew, this is a little shade, but it's all right. Are you sad that Tim Duncan is not sponsored by your Orlando Magic because of Doc Rivers? Because of the whole
are we bringing this up?
Because I like to hate on you, man. I like to hate on you, bro.
Why is this even relevant? I mean, look. I don't even know, but you know what? I don't even know if we'd have put the right pieces around him to win the championship.
T-Mac and him and Grant Hill. Yeah, he was injured, but he would have came back on that team, bro. You had T-Mac and could have had Tim Duncan in their primes. That pick and roll would have been disgusting.
Yeah, but see the thing. Go ahead. I just think with Tim Duncan's situation is more of above average talent, elite coaching. I don't think Tim Duncan would have got to the level he's at right now. Don't get me wrong; he was a fantastic player, all his whole career. But I think Pop took him to another level. I think he understood Tim Duncan better as a player than most coaches would have. Because Tim Duncan he wasn't a trash talker. I think there's one interview I watched where he was like, "Who do you think the biggest trash talker is?" And I don't know if it was KG or somebody, but somebody mentioned Tim Duncan. He was like, but he doesn't talk trash the way you think. Is that
KG on All the Smoke? He was on All the Smoke.
I think it was him. And he was like, yeah, Tim Duncan. He's like, Tim Duncan. He's like, yeah, but he don't talk trash like you think he does. He'll say little slick shit here and there, like
one-liner, one word.
Yeah, could have made it.
Good job. Nice try.
Do better next time. Nice try. And be tearing your ass up the whole game, and he'll leave, but maybe 30 and 12, and maybe, two steals, however the stats play out. But, Tim Duncan, I just always, he's a result of being a great player in a great system with great coaching. That's why a lot of people say he's had the most perfect NBA career, because a lot of his rings were just like, real quick, get in there. We got an opportunity to win. We're going to take it. We got an opportunity to win. We're going to take it. And I feel like every time there's with a player like that, it's like you can't, like, to me, that's like, it's the best power forward of all time.
Yeah, I think like when you going back to Pop, like I lived in San Antonio when he actually got drafted, and the whole thing was the Twin Towers, right, with him and David Robinson and everything, and seeing where he progressed, like a really great player. But when you talk about coaching, it was, and that's alluding to that conversation with KG on all the smoke, saying when other players looked at the best player and he took the criticism and wanted to be coached really hard and he didn't talk shit back, that's why it made it work, right? Where you look at Kobe, you look at KG, you look at Shaq, like all these, they had a lot more ego, I would say, than Tim Duncan. That's why it worked. They didn't win a back-to-back. They never won back-to-back, but you win 5 titles in 20 years? That's still good. You know what I mean? Like you can't say much about that except championships, right? And with the help he had, I think it was a consistent play, especially bringing in Manu and Tony Parker. And then you had, when he came in, you had Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson, like all those, and David Robinson, all those mentors to let him now become a mentor for the others coming in. I think helped him just have, that great legacy. Then the same thing with KG, did everything he could do in Minnesota, and it just wasn't enough. And like what he said, he's like, you know what? I appreciate Kevin McHale bringing me there, but I do wish I would have went to Boston sooner. I think if he would have went to Boston sooner, I think they would have won more championships.
He was supposed to go to the Lakers, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, Kobe should have. Kobe's Kobe. We always, how I feel about that.
He wanted him to go there.
Yeah. But then you wouldn't have got Powell. But so I think it was a better fit.
Taking Powell? You taking KG? Powell over KG?
I think you would have had to pay too much, and you couldn't get other pieces around Kobe and KG like you were able to get pieces around Kobe and Powell, if that makes sense. Like, because he would want the Supermax, he would want that, and you would have 2 players at Supermax.
I think Kobe would have talked him out of getting all that money. KG he was already made.
No, I mean, we already know who the better player is, but I think the system in which it was, I think Powell is a better fit. One, in game, you could speak a different language without the other team know, you know what I mean? And also Powell was a better passer too. So I think he fit that the triangle a lot better than what KG would. But we already know KG was the better player, And I know, talk to your boy about your boy KG. Do you know he's your favorite player?
I watched his Hall of Fame speech. It was dope. Traditional KG fashion. He was still up there talking shit.
I love it.
I think it was dope for him to pay his respect to Flip Saunders, based on their history and what he's been through with the whole Minnesota organization and whatnot.
Yep.
But I think it was dope hearing him say, I wish I would have went to Boston a lot sooner, But I think if he would have went to Boston a lot sooner, I don't think his opportunities would have got as much highlight as they would have when he was in Minnesota, because a lot of people don't really look at that era when KG was going crazy. Like KG was going nuts, bro. Like
him and Duncan back and forth, Rasheed, Weber, like all the that was the spot, that power forward. That was like when he came into the league, it was power forward era. Like that was
nobody, but the thing about KG during his era, he was shitting on dudes that played other positions too.
Yeah.
Like he was looking like the best player in the league around that time.
Yeah. What about you, Drew? What do you think about KG and obviously Kobe? Touch on that.
And on his what on Kobe?
What were you thought on the speeches with KG, wearing that nice green, suit? of just about his career and obviously Kobe's.
Yeah, I mean, it was fitting. Definitely was fitting.
I can't hear you, bro.
I said it was fitting. Can you hear me now?
Speak closer.
What? You still can't hear me?
No, that's better. Yeah.
Oh. What?
Just say you want to see his eyes, man. That's all you got to say, dog.
No, I said it was fitting. Yeah, it was a nice speech.
But yeah, man. All respects. I watched the whole ceremony almost. And there was this one coach. She coached on 3 different levels of college: Division 1, 2, and 3. She had like almost 1,200 wins or something. It's just like, man, that's super crazy to win on multiple championships on Division 1, 2, and 3. That's hella ridiculous, you know. And to have UConn's coach kind of sponsor and be there, you know, that just amazed me. You know what I mean? Like, you go from a D1 school and be like, hey, instead of going to another D1 school or staying there, you want to go to a Division 2 school and coach another championship. Then go to Division 3, coach another championship. Then go back to Division 1. That's very difficult, you know?
Was she coaching men's or women's basketball?
Women's. She was a women's coach. Or she you know, won 1,200, but all her teams were always there, 20 to 25 wins every year. Which
that's a lot of.
For college, usually there's like what a total after the tournament, like 33, 34 win or like games, and to have almost every year 20 to 25. That's pretty amazing, you know? So
dope. 1,200 wins is a fucking lot.
Yeah. And then the women's Baylor coach, who's been there for 30 something years, got inducted. So, I mean, it's just like a lot of these coaches who are getting inducted, these women's coaches, they're getting these positions when they're like 20 something years old. So they're coaching almost the same age players as they are. So I think that can be, and you could talk probably Drew, right? It's kind of hard to be coached or even have a manager who's trying to tell you and show you how to do this when you guys are almost the same age, right? So it's kind of like swallowing your pride and all that and just going out there and doing what you got to do.
Yeah, execution is the biggest part of coaching because a lot of what you say don't mean shit unless your players are actually gonna, you know, follow through. That's why I feel like there's a lot of, if you look at like the NBA and the WNBA, you can see certain players that there's team captains, and then there's like, you know, you got your team, your average team captain that just, you know, runs the team and does stuff like that. Then you got your team captain that's like active. You know what I'm saying? Like he's helping the coach. You know what I'm saying? He's doing what he needs to. He or she is doing what they need to do to make sure that the win is that we win. You know, and you know I feel like everybody has a player like that. And sometimes it's not the team captain. Sometimes it's that dude on the bench that only plays 2 minutes a game, but he's that guy that gets everybody revved up. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that, you know, shit's executed.
Yeah. And like, this my last thought on this, you know, hearing Kobe's, you know, Vanessa Bryant's speech on Kobe, just the one part that got me, I was like, damn, that's real, was him playing through so many injuries just because, hey, there's fans here who saved up probably for a while just to see me once. I have to go out there and play. I don't
that shit
care.
got to me too.
Like, and then you see today's game and you're like, yeah. Like, you know, you guys know how I feel about players kind of sitting out when still healthy and they're healthy enough to play. That fucking pisses me off like so much. Man, you know I'm white, so I get hella red, right? So but just hearing that though, it just like, you know what I mean? It's like Kobe, like he outworked everybody, right? But just to hear that day in, day out, he was telling that to her every time. And she's like saying, sit down, rest, you're injured. He's like, I don't care. Someone hasn't seen me. I have to prove that. And, you know, that was Jordan did that too, right? So I just wish more players did that. You know, I think it would make the game a little more competitive, obviously, in the regular season, not just in the playoffs, right? That's kind of my thought process.
Side note, playing devil's advocate. I respect the fans, but at the same time, you got to understand that it's a double-edged sword when you're dealing with fans.
Oh, yeah.
They're either paying a ticket to talk shit to you or they're paying a ticket to see you play. You feel what I'm saying? If my body is out of whack and I put myself at risk, it's not just about the fans. There's other things that have to come into consideration. You know, and a lot it's kind of like with like the whole LeBron James situation. Like he says I'm going to play this game, I don't play it. He says I'm going to play this game, I don't play it. Like social media,
yeah, it's different.
Basketball from here way up to here, but it's also kind of like watered down the basketball game a lot too. Like I was just watching a video about Steph Curry. Like during halftime, he'll go and look at social media to see if he's had a bad half or not. Because if you like, and they said like if you look at like the Golden State Warriors during that era, you know when they were running shit, they dominate in the third quarter every time they dominate.
Every time, they were up by like 5, then they go up by 30 or 25.
You see what I'm saying? And it'd be stuff like that. Now, if social media didn't exist, he would just have to go out there and put his gumption together and get busy. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the way social media has affected the NBA and the way like things move and you know they maneuver and stuff like that. Like it's giving the player so much control. You have so much room to shoot yourself in the foot. You know.
Yeah.
It's just a crazy anomaly when you just look at like how it works now. Like players that aren't even that good have a say so. It can sit up there and act like you know. They're the bee's knees, you know what I'm saying? Like they're the dopest of the dope, but it don't be like that.
You know, I kind of tag on to this load management type of conversation. Not this game, but I think it was yesterday. Whatever the last Wizards game. I know they played Charlotte tonight, but the game prior to that, earlier in the week, somebody was out. And the guy they drafted from Virginia, I forget his name, but he's been on the bench for like 3 months, and he finally played, and he had a pretty decent game coming off the bench, like 12 points, 5 boards, something like that. And in the post game conversation, he said, "I'm here to serve my teammates," and that statement blew me away. Like you don't hear players talking like that, and I don't know why. I mean, it was kind of like the other piece to the puzzle. This conversation, where if you had bench players with that mentality, players like Kobe could maybe afford to take a break. You know what I'm saying? I understand that he didn't want to, but I don't know. It just makes you think, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I look at it is like.
Did I take the conversation somewhere else?
No, I agree with you. I just think like with Kobe was more of like.
I think
I'm gonna give my whole body to this.
Yeah.
I want to play basketball until my body shuts down. Basically, that was Kobe's thing. When you look at Jordan. He's like, I have accomplished enough. I have nothing else to prove. Then you go play baseball, you come back, whatever, right? And I still think
there's a theory on that, but I'll let you finish. Go ahead, finish.
No, I'm just saying that's pretty much what it is. And I mean, like, that was Kobe. Like going back to all the smoke, right? When they had AI on, when a Philly came to LA, you know, Kobe picks him up, but he's studying him. And then AI says, "Hey, what you about to do?" And it was more of like, "Hey, because I'm about to go to the club." He's like, "Well, you know, I'm gonna go to the gym." That's who Kobe was, right? But that's my final take on that. But yeah, it's just crazy, and these 3 great players battled each other all the way till the end. I mean, Lakers and Spurs matchups, Spurs versus Timberwolves. I mean, then you look at, of course, the Lakers and Celtics in 2 of the 3 years in the finals going against each other, right? So well deserved.